Alright, so this is going to be a pretty basic Playfair tutorial. I did a blog post on a Makeover Monday where the data was from Information is Beautiful, I believe, and it is essentially the number of records lost to data breaches of some kind or another between 2004 and 2016. And so the distinction that I chose to kind of draw out is that some of these records were lost to hacking, or what I'm calling malicious intent here in the headline. And some of them were just lost to negligence, and so that's this orange area here, and so that's, the hard drive was lost, proper security precautions weren't taken, it was an inside job, etc., etc. And this is what, I don't know exactly what you call this kind of chart. Some people on Twitter referred to it as a diverging area chart, but basically, right, this just has two categories, and one category is going to be above the y-axis, the x-axis rather, or the y equals 0 line, and the other category is going to be below that axis. And so you can kind of see what's going on here from the annotations. This looks like 2009, and so there were roughly, I could have put more grid lines on here maybe, but this looks like roughly 80, 90 million. Well, in that 1 year, the US military lost 76 million records essentially on veterans due to sending a unencrypted hard drive out for repair. And I think the reason the trend is interesting, right, it's clearly increasing as we go on in time. More and more records are being lost to hacking. Okay, so how did I do this? So here's the data over here in Excel, and it's really not hard to put together. The original data was by event, basically, so I had to sum all those into years to find out that there were, for example, 92 million records that were lost in 2004 due to hacking and 0 that were lost due to negligence. And then I have a record for each point, right, or a row in the data for each point. And so, for example, if we look at 2012 here, this is 1 point. So I need to have 1 row for orange in 2012. And 1 row for green in 2012. That's this point right here. So as you can see, I have the years twice. I have 2004 to 2016 for hacked data, and then I have 2004 to 2016 for breaches that occurred because of negligence. Then I have the number of records lost in each year. I'm not actually going to use this for graphing. Instead, I'm going to use these top and bottom columns. So I'm going to use a type of chart where I just define what is the top Y and what is the bottom Y. So you can see I've done that here for the green area, the hacked area. I've divided by 1,000,000, so 92 million becomes 92, so on and so forth. And the bottom of that area is just the 0 line, right? It just runs along here. Similarly, for the negligence data, for the other data, the top line for that data is 0, and then the bottom line for it is a negative number. So I both divided by 1,000,000 here and multiplied by -1. It just took the negative, right? So that got me the data. All right, so let's go ahead and pop that over into Playfair. I'm going to make this small so I can reference some of the text. All right, and the first thing I want to do in Playfair is change my year column to be a date column. Playfair will generally read that in as numeric because it's just numbers, right? If we had put like 1/1/2009 or something with slashes, then we'd probably read in it as a date. But as it is, it just reads it like that. I'm going to switch the style real quick. I'm going to take out the logo. We don't really need that. And then I'm going to come over here to area charts. And there's 2 things you can do in area charts. The first is a stacked area. So this would be your normal area chart where it's going to essentially put the orange area above the green area, just like lying on top of it. But instead, I want to do this top and bottom bounded area. So I'm going to pick for Y maximum and Y minimum, right? So this is just telling me like what's the highest Y and what's the lowest Y for each row in the data set. And then my X variable is just my year. That's the X-axis. Finally, I need to separate them out based on that type variable. That's going to give me my color. So let's come down here and chart that. And there's the basic graph. So I'm going to go ahead and X out my legend here on the legend preview tab because I don't want to have to deal with that over and over. Well, I really don't need to have the console open here. And now let's throw in this headline. And the subhead. Okay, and chart that. All right, I'm almost there. The only thing I really have left to do is I want to redo my axis a little. So these are positive numbers down here. And then I want to add some annotations. So first, taking care of that axis is really easy. I can just double click to edit these. Use the arrow keys to go over to those negative numbers and just get rid of them. And then let's go ahead and take care of doing these annotations. So I'm going to click on an area outside of the area and say start path. And I'll just do like that. And now once I've made this path, I can drag it. So I can put it there. And because it's also not showing upgrade on that green, I'm also going to make it black by right-clicking and just choosing that. And then I'm going to add text here. There's 60 million credit and debit card numbers are stolen by a hacking ring targeting banks. Okay, now this isn't quite how I want it. First of all, because it's left aligned, so I'm going to make it flush right. That way they're all three lines are ending on the right there. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I may have made this a little smaller. Let's do it like that. Now the other thing I wanted to do just as a little visual flourish is put the hacking in green to sort of be the key of my graph, right? Like otherwise I don't have a key on here. So the way you can do that, you can't color, whoops. You can't color things in Playfair on like a by word basis, but I can go in here and just do this, and depending on how you want to do this, I could just carefully place that new text I made over the old one, or I could just go in here and delete the old one. And now I have that. Yeah, I can mess with the placement a little. Okay, and similarly, I'm going to do the same kind of thing down here. So I'm going to start a path, do that. Come on, make it black. Oops. Make it black. Drag it right here. Add text. I'm making the text smaller here by just pressing down on my keyboard. You can see over here that there are some shortcuts when you have text selected like this. So up and down, change your font size. Oops. I might want to make this even smaller, which, yeah, that's actually fine. Okay, so again, did that in kind of the same way. I'm going to go ahead and do my negligence text here. I'm going to make it orange, and then I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to carefully place that over the original. And I think that's it. That's the whole graph. So now I could just download that to my hard drive if I wanted.